Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and our FCS Dynasty. Today we are taking a look at the nation, doing our Week 4 recap, and of course our Week 5 predictions. And here's the Sports Illustrated cover. The Cowboys are 3-1 and Holly is a big part of their success, big time wide receiver. And Wyoming is off to a pretty good start. Top 25 polls. New Mexico loses to Georgia, which that's really no surprise there. Georgia has like A+ overalls and everything. But let's take a look at the top 25. Nothing really shocking right now. All of the FBS schools still fill it out for the most part. There's Wyoming at 13th. They just lost to Air Force. So it's kind of surprising that they put Wyoming on the cover of Sports Illustrated after they just lost. And that's the top 20. No FCS schools yet. There's New Mexico State. And New Mexico drops to 22nd. Savannah State is ranked, folks. They are 23rd in the nation after beating Ohio 49-3. So Savannah State becomes the first FCS school to be ranked and the first of our schools to be ranked here. Let's take a look at the numbers for the squad so far. Jeremy Carroll, 7 touchdowns, no picks. MJ Gator Jr., 477 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, a 14-yard average. Matt Meeks, 6 catches, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rashawn Griffin, 14 tackles. And Baker, the non-subscriber player, with a couple sacks and interceptions. And ranked 24th is the Montana Grizzlies. And Neal, their quarterback's having a great season, 1,009 yards, 10 touchdowns. Running back's not doing too bad either. But they will be taking on Dayton in Week 5, so we'll go over their matchup later on in this video. But Montana becomes the first FCS school that is not one of our teams to be ranked. And Rice rounds out the top 25. They take on North Dakota State. And let's take a look at the teams that are receiving votes. Towson, William and Mary, Ohio, who just got destroyed by Savannah State, and a bunch of other schools. And the Heisman Watch, Holly is on the cover again, number 1. And take a look at number 3, MJ Gator Jr. is our first player to hit the Heisman Watch list. And he definitely deserves it. He has been balling out of his mind, playing lights out. He can run, he can catch. We might even see if he throws it this week. Who knows? But we got 1 wide receiver, 1 quarterback, and 3 halfbacks on the Heisman Watch list. And there's Riley Cotton, who had a fantastic day against Dayton early on in the season. So I know he's really good. Players of the week, let's get into it. Conference Player of the Week for Conference USA. We'll see that in a second. There's Daley Redding, NCAA Player of the Week. 203 yards, 4 touchdowns, and also 54 receiving yards and a touchdown. And Ralph Williams gets NCAA Player of the Week on defense. 8 tackles, 1 for loss, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles in their 63-7 win over the Villanova Wildcats. Let's take a look at the ACC. Brandon Allen, 14 carries, 211 yards, 4 touchdowns in the Bryant Bulldogs' victory over Morgan State, which they won 70-28. James Moore, outside linebacker for William and Mary, had 18 tackles, 4 for loss, a sack, and a forced fumble. Ray Neal, 5 touchdown passes, over 400 yards from Montana. And Roshan Fagan, 4 tackles and a touchdown. And Daley Redding, of course, Player of the Week on offense for the Big 12. Josh Mixon, senior left end for Nicholls State, had 7 tackles, 2 for loss, 1 sack, and a forced fumble. The Big East, Theo Williams, halfback out of Dartmouth, 214 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Keon Henry, outside linebacker, at 11 tackles, 4 for loss, 1 sack, 2 forced fumbles for the Yale Bulldogs. In Conference USA, both Tulane players, Brian Ham, the halfback, $176 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. And Maurice Smith, 5 tackles, 3 for loss, 2 sacks, and a fumble recovery in their victory over the VMI Cadets. Wofford has both players for the Independents, 33 carries for 175 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 61 yards receiving for Dennis Allen, the junior halfback. And Titus Taylor, sophomore outside linebacker, had 8 tackles, 3 for a loss, 1 sack, 2 picks, and a forced fumble. The MAC, Maurice Phillips, against Southern Utah, had 181 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground on 9 carries. He had 2 catches for 17 yards and a touchdown. Matt Poole, 10 tackles, 4 for loss, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles for Maine against New Hampshire in a 25-21 victory. That was a close one. and that was for the MAC Football Conference. Mountain West, senior halfback Marquise Tucker, 39 carries, 224 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 10 receiving yards. Michael Newsom, outside linebacker, 11 tackles, 3 for a loss, 1 sack, 1 pick, 1 fumble recovery. And the Pac-10, Alexander Connor, 385 yards, 5 total touchdowns in their win against Villanova. Ralph William, of course, the player of the game, or the player of the week on defense for the Pac-10 as well. And then Nick Dixon, Alabama A&M quarterback, senior, 390 yards, 6 touchdowns. Oh my goodness. And Josh Neal, 8 tackles, 5 for loss, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. Senior outside linebacker for Texas Southern. And on to the Sun Belt, Robert Minor, redshirt senior quarterback for FAU, had 381 yards, 7 total touchdowns in their win against Montana State. Derek Watson for Sanford, outside linebacker, had 13 tackles, 2 for a loss, 2 picks, 1 forced fumble, and a losing effort to Sam Houston State, 20-17. And the WAC, Richard Carter, redshirt junior wide receiver out of New Mexico State, had 206 yards and 3 touchdowns on 5 catches against UC Davis. And I didn't see the defensive guy, but it was an Aggie from New Mexico State. Let's take a quick look at the conferences. Not a whole lot of conference games so far, but here's the ACC. Savannah State and Bryant on top right now, both 3-0. Bryant on top of the Atlantic Division, and of course Savannah State on top of the Coastal, and it looks like they're both going to meet in the ACC title game. I really hope that's the case. Hopefully they don't get any hiccups for the rest of the season. Dayton 5th in the Big Ten right now at 1-2, but they get to take on Montana, who is 3-0 on the season, the best team in the Big Ten currently. So that'll be a fun game. And Big 12, North Dakota State and South Dakota State, 3rd and 5th respectively. South Dakota State has 2 wins on the year. And VMI all the way down at 10th at 0-3, still looking for that first win on the season. And the Big 12 North actually has North Dakota State and South Dakota State in that. And the Bison need to start scoring some points. So does VMI. 41 points in 3 games. That is just not going to cut it. The Big East, not a whole lot of wins in this conference. Wow. Only 1 win for, 5 teams right there? Unreal. Conference USA, a lot of FBS schools are in this conference still. Well, Conference USA, the Mountain West, the WAC, those are mostly FBS schools. And here are the Independents, Army and Navy, undefeated still. Northeastern looking for their first win on the season. And here's the MAC, a lot of big-time schools right now. And Maine actually hanging in there with them, one of the FCS schools in the MAC doing quite well for themselves. Hofstra, 1-1 on the season. Of course, they beat South Dakota State. Here's the Mountain West. A lot of losses in this conference, but a few big-time schools. And New Mexico, they should be undefeated, but of course they had to take on Georgia, and that's not even fair. Here's the Pac-10, Southern Utah leading right now. Cal Poly, UC Davis 3rd and 4th. Northern Colorado in 8th, and San Diego at 9th. But none of these teams have actually played a conference game yet, except for one of them. And here's the SEC, Jacksonville 0-2. Only 27 points scored this season, getting absolutely destroyed by everybody. But they're not dead last, so they got that going for them. But they do start conference play this week against Tennessee State, who is the top team in the conference currently. And Jacksonville's 4th in the SEC West. I just can't wrap my head around them only scoring 27 points this season. Take a look at the Sun Belt, led by Georgia Southern and Appalachian State right now. What is going on with that? Northwestern State 1-2. Of course, their only win is against the Jacksonville Dolphins. Here's a look at the WAC, the number 1 ranked Boise State Broncos, 2-0 on the year. Fresno State, Nevada, Idaho, New Mexico State, San Jose State, Utah State, and then you got one FCS school in there who actually has a victory on the season. And now time for our Week 4 recap. South Dakota State versus the Dartmouth Big Green. The Jackrabbits winning that one 42-13. They actually won it 59-47. That was a shootout. That scoreboard was lit up. Northern Colorado hosting the Cornell Big Red. looking for their first win on the season. I had the Bears winning that one 31-20, and they put on a show, winning 63-21 over the Big Red. San Diego traveled to in-city rival San Diego State to take on the 19th ranked Aztecs, and I had San Diego State winning that one 45-20. They actually won it 59-17 as they just cruised to an easy victory against the Toreros. Cal Poly Mustangs versus the Villanova Wildcats. I had Cal Poly winning that one 38-17, and they lit up the scoreboard as well, winning 63-7 over the Wildcats. Savannah State traveled to Ohio to take on the 18th ranked Bobcats in the toughest game of the season for them. I had the Tigers winning a close one, 34-31, and they shocked me by winning 49-3. The Bobcats did not stand a chance in that game. Southern Utah took on the Buffalo Bulls, ranked 20th in the nation. I had the Bulls winning that one 42-28, and Buffalo did not disappoint. They won 48-0. Southern Utah could do nothing on offense. Bryant started ACC play. Of course, I forgot the logo right there. Against the Morgan State Bears, I had Bryant winning 31-10, and they put up 70 points on the Bears, winning 70-28. UC Davis traveled to take on the New Mexico State Aggies in the first annual Aggie Bowl, and I had New Mexico State winning that one 52-24, and it was a lot closer than I predicted. It was 43-36. UC Davis fought very hard all the way until the end of the game, and they get a lot of respect in the comments section. VMI took on the Tulane Green Wave, ranked 9th in the country. I had Tulane winning that one 49-14, and Tulane actually won 42-10, but VMI played a phenomenal first half of football. They were up 7-0 with like 10 seconds to go in the first half, and Tulane got on the board. And then in the second half started, Tulane scored again, and they just never looked back. But VMI gets a lot of credit from me for how they played in the first half. I thought it was a phenomenal performance the first 2 quarters. And the final game of Week 4 was Dayton traveling to take on the 10th ranked Eastern Michigan Eagles. And I picked Dayton in the upset 35-28. But Eastern Michigan pulled away in the end and won it 41-27. Now let's get a look at the Week 5 schedule and have my predictions for those games. First game of Week 5 will be Bryant taking on the Bethune-Cookman Wildcats in an ACC matchup. I got Bryant winning that one 31-17. It should be a close one. And the next game, the 23rd ranked Savannah State Tigers take on the Hampton Pirates in another ACC showdown. I got the Tigers winning that one big time, 56-10. They've just been blowing everybody out this season, including Ohio, which was still a shocker to me. Southern Utah traveling to take on the 22nd ranked Lobos of New Mexico, and I got the Lobos winning that one 41-20. And they have a nasty defense, and Southern Utah has just been god-awful against ranked opponents this season, except for Air Force. I don't know how they won that game, but everybody else has just been completely destroying them. And I think New Mexico has actually a B- defense, and Southern Utah has about a C offense. So it's not looking good for the Thunderbirds in this matchup. And our next matchup, San Diego Toreros start their Pac-10 play as they travel to take on the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks. And I got the Toreros winning that one 28-27. That should be a fun game and a close one. And our fifth game, North Dakota State hosting the Rice Owls, who are ranked 25th in the country. I got Rice winning that one 17-14. And we only have 8 matchups this week, guys, so I'm going to try to get them all out in 1 week. It's a lot of work. It takes 8 hours at least to play all 8 games, and then about an hour to edit. It's a full-time job, but I'm going to try to get all 8 games out to you guys this week. Northern Colorado, our 6th game of the week, starts their Pac-10 play, and they take on the Eastern Washington Eagles, and I got the Bears winning that one 27-24. I think it's going to be a really close one, down to the wire, but let's see. It should be a fun one. Jacksonville taking on Tennessee State in an SEC showdown, and I got the Tigers winning that one 31-20. Jacksonville has just been just abysmal, just complete garbage this season. I don't know what is going on. Their offense isn't working. I do have a new offense for them that I built to just include all the subscriber players. I'm hoping it works out for them. But we'll see. And then Dayton taking on the 24th ranked Montana Grizzlies in a Big Ten game. I got Montana winning a close one, 31-30. They are a fantastic program. I think it's going to be a really close one, and maybe Montana's going to kick a last-second field goal or something. Who knows? Something crazy is going to happen in that game. I can feel it. But that is it for taking a look at the nation, Week 4 recap, and my Week 5 predictions. And you guys need to put your predictions in the comment section below. There's 8 games. I expect 8 predictions from all of you. I'm sick and tired of it, guys. Do it. I'll see you guys tomorrow with some Madden. Take it easy, guys.